Well, good day, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know that the Lord is with you and watching over you and making a way for you. Today we continue on in that opening chapter of the Gospel of John, and we read how Jesus was in the world, and even though the world was made through him, the world did not know him. I'm sure that had to be frustrating. And then we also read that Jesus came to his own, and his own did not receive him. He came to his own people, Israel, and Israel did not receive him. And that had to be terribly frustrating. And yet, to everyone who did receive him, he gave the right to become children of God. Now, that's just mind blowing for me. That, as frustrating as it must have been to be the maker of the world, and yet the world not know you, and to come to your own people, and your own people not receive you. Yet to everyone who received him, no matter who they were, whether they were Jew or Gentile, lowborn or highborn, whoever received him, he gave the right, the privilege, the authority, the status to become children of God. Not children born of any type of human decision, or I think it says a husband's will, but born of God. Now, yesterday was Labor Day, and John Mark, our son, had all of his college roommates over, and we had a cookout. And it was just interesting to be around the table with them and to enjoy the fellowship, the fun, the laughter, and to see those guys eat. They can eat. But I've been thinking about that and the Gospel of John here. Those guys received John Mark. They welcomed him into their lives, their roommates. They welcomed them into their place of living. They received John Mark. They do all kinds of things together. And because they received John Mark, now they had status around our dinner table. Had they not received John Mark, they would not have been present in our home. They would not have been around our table sharing a meal. But because they received John Mark, then they were welcomed into our family. Because they received John Mark, they had a place at our table. Because they received John Mark, they even had the privilege, right, status of getting food out of our refrigerator. They were almost family. And we treated them like family. Now, we didn't, quote unquote, adopt them so that now John Mark and Rebecca and Rachel are going to have to share whatever inheritance Bond and I leave behind with them. But I think you get the point. I think you get the illustration that because they received John Mark, they now were welcomed into our family, and in a sense, were part of our family. In a sense, they have kind of a new status. Well, just imagine what God is doing here through Jesus. To those who receive Jesus the Son, they are then made children of God, born of God, a new status, a new belonging. So that as they receive Jesus into their lives, so that as we begin to follow Jesus and listen to him and rearrange our lives according to him, that as we receive Jesus and the more deeply we receive Jesus, then it's like the more deeply we're welcomed at God's table. No, that's probably not quite right how to say it. It's not so much that we're more deeply welcomed as much as we more deeply fit at God's table. The welcome is there. So as we receive Jesus, we find that we're given this new status. We belong to the family. We have the right, we have the authority, children of God. I think what happens is that just as John Mark invited his friends into our table fellowship at home so that they become part of something that's bigger than just John Mark, so when we receive Jesus, Jesus brings us home, so to speak, to the Father through the Spirit. And so that we become part of that family of relationships, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And as we become part of that, we discover ourselves being changed. We discover ourselves being born anew. we discover that we're actually given the privilege of belonging to God's family, even to the extent to where we're called the children of God. That's way more than just having the ability to get into the refrigerator. That's inheritance level. That's full on family. And so I hope you realize, and I hope you're encouraged, that today, wherever you might find yourself, no matter how scattered you might be, that so long as you are receiving Jesus and walking with Jesus, then you are actually living a new life as a child of God. That you are welcomed into that family, and that family, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, you find it giving you life, giving you identity, giving you purpose, giving you joy. So go forth, encouraged as you receive Jesus, that you are indeed a child of God. God bless and have a great day.